Leon, my son, let's have a little heart-to-heart. You've been through some serious stuff, I get that. Saving the world from plagues, fighting off zombies, mutant creatures. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? But let's talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. Your approach to these situations. You know, all that shoot first, ask questions later kind of thing. Now don't get me wrong, sometimes you have to defend yourself, but maybe, just maybe, you're taking this a bit far, don't you think? Now I'm not here to give you a lecture. Well, okay, maybe a little one, but hear me out. You see, when I said, "Blessed are the peacemakers," I didn't exactly have roundhouse kicks and shotgun blasts in mind. There's more to being a peacemaker than clearing a room full of infected Leon. Think about it. How many times have you charged into a situation, gun blazing, and thought, you know, maybe I could talk this one out? I know. Zombies aren't the best conversationalists. Trust me, I've met a few stubborn souls myself. But you don't always have to solve your problems by emptying clips into everything that moves. Look, you've got heart, Leon. I can see that. You want to protect people, and that's admirable. But sometimes, in your eagerness to save, you forget that there are other ways to fight evil besides, well, punching it in the face. Take a breath, my son. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders or your trigger finger. Remember what I said about turning the other cheek? That applies even when you're staring down something that looks like it crawled out of a horror movie. Now, I'm not saying you should try and hug the zombies. That probably wouldn't end well. But maybe try a little more compassion in your approach. You know, like, hey, before I put a bullet in you, have you considered changing your ways? Okay, I'm joking. But really, Leon, it's time to ask yourself, is violence always the answer? I mean, look at me. I had a pretty rough time on Earth, too. Crucifixion? Not exactly a walk in the park. But did I go around smiting everyone? Nope. I turned the other cheek, showed love to my enemies. You could take a page from that, you know. Less, kick the door down. More, how can I help you heal? I understand the stress you're under. It's easy to see everything as a threat when you've been through what you've been through. But here's the thing, Leon. You've got more power in your words than in your weapons. When I told people to love their enemies, I wasn't just being poetic. That kind of love can change hearts, even the ones that seem too far gone. Imagine what would happen if you started using a little more understanding instead of relying on that trusty pistol of yours. Oh, and speaking of that pistol, seriously, Leon, how many guns do you carry on you at any given time? 2, 3, 4. You're like a walking armory. I get that your world is a dangerous place, but even I didn't need that much firepower, and I had a whole kingdom to protect. So maybe it's time to lighten the load. I've got something for you that's way better than bullets. Love, forgiveness, and faith. You've faced some pretty intense foes, but none of them compare to the power of those things. Think about it. Has blowing something's head off ever brought you peace? Ever made you feel truly safe? No, because violence is a cycle, Leon. It never ends. The more you fight fire with fire, the more you get burned. What you need is a way out of that cycle. And here's the good news. You already know the way. It's within you. You were created in my image, after all. That means you've got the potential for peace, for healing, for love. It's in there somewhere, even if it's buried under years of trauma and all those herbs you've been using to heal up after battles. By the way, what's with those herbs, anyway? You've got a bit of a green thumb, don't you? You might want to explore that a little more. Gardening is way more peaceful than blasting heads off of infected. I'm not saying it's easy. Trust me, I know better than anyone that walking the path of righteousness can be tough. But it's worth it, Leon. It's so worth it. Every time you choose love over fear, compassion over hate, you're not just saving someone else. You're saving yourself. You've been through hell, quite literally, in some cases. But you don't have to stay there. You can choose to rise above it, to become a beacon of light in this dark world. Look, I'm not asking you to give up your fight completely. I get it. Sometimes you've got to defend yourself. But maybe, just maybe, you could think about fighting with a different weapon. You've got so much more in your arsenal than guns and knives. You've got hope, you've got love, you've got faith. And let me tell you, Leon, those are some heavy-duty weapons right there. You just have to learn how to use them. So next time you're surrounded by zombies or facing down some abomination straight out of your nightmares, maybe pause for a second. Instead of reaching for your gun, ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Well, here's your answer. I'd probably find a way to forgive that ugly monster coming at me. And if that didn't work, maybe try a little prayer. You'd be surprised how powerful that can be in the face of evil. Leon, you've been given a great gift. You have the strength to protect others, the courage to face the darkest of horrors. But don't let that strength become your downfall. Don't let the fight turn you into something you're not. Remember who you are, who you really are. You're more than just a soldier, more than a survivor. You're a child of God. And that means you're capable of incredible things, not just with your fists, but with your heart. So, my son, the next time you're tempted to go in guns blazing, maybe think twice. Maybe there's a better way, a kinder way, a way that leads not to more violence, but to peace. And if you're ever unsure, just remember, I'm here, watching, always ready to guide you. I've got your back, Leon. You just have to trust in me, trust in the light, and most importantly, trust in yourself. After all, it's not about how many enemies you defeat. It's about how many lives you save. Sometimes that includes your own. Leon, I've been watching your journey closely, and let me tell you, you've got a heart that's in the right place. Sure, you've got the whole saving the world thing down. But there's one thing I think you're missing: compassion. Now, before you give me that look, hear me out. You've done a lot of good for a lot of people, but sometimes it seems like you're doing it more out of duty than out of kindness. Take Ashley Graham, for example. Poor girl was kidnapped, thrown into the middle of chaos, and what did she get from you? A lot of stay close and wait here. Now, I'm not saying you didn't save her life. Of course you did. But you could have thrown in a few more words of comfort, don't you think? You know, something like, hey, it's going to be okay, or I've got your back. A little compassion goes a long way, Leon. You see, sometimes people need more than just a hero. They need someone who cares, someone who can look beyond the mission and see them as a person, not just a task to be completed. You've been doing this hero thing for so long that I think you've forgotten that people aren't just problems to solve. They're living, breathing, feeling souls, and you, my son, have the power to lift them up, not just with your actions, but with your words, your kindness. Look, I know you're a man of few words. You prefer to let your gun do the talking most of the time. But there's a strength in compassion that no weapon can match. When you speak from the heart, when you show kindness to someone in need, you're doing more than saving their life. You're saving their spirit. Think about all the people you've come across in your journey. Some of them were terrified, some of them were broken, and a few of them were downright annoying. I'll give you that. But what if instead of just getting them to safety, you helped them heal? What if instead of barking orders, you offered some encouragement? I know it sounds cheesy, but love really is the answer. I've been preaching it for over 2,000 years, and it still holds up. When you lead with compassion, when you show love to others, even the ones who drive you crazy, you're doing my work. You're being the light in a dark world. And let's be honest, Leon, your world could use a little more light, don't you think? Oh, and speaking of annoying people, let's talk about that merchant you keep running into. Now I've got to hand it to him. He's resourceful, always popping up out of nowhere with a whole arsenal of stuff you somehow always need. But maybe instead of just haggling with him over the price of that next upgrade, you could throw him a little kindness. Maybe ask him how he's doing for a change. I mean, the guy's been following you through some pretty rough territory. He's probably had it just as bad as you. All joking aside, compassion isn't just about being nice to the people you like. It's about showing kindness even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you're surrounded by monsters, literal or metaphorical. That's when it matters the most. When you choose love over fear, you're showing the world what it really means to be a hero. And let's be clear, Leon, you don't have to wait until the world is on fire to show kindness. You can start right now, in the small moments. The next time someone looks to you for help, don't just offer them a gun or an escape route. Offer them hope. Offer them comfort. Let them know that they're not alone. And if you ever feel like you're running out of steam, just remember, I'm here, and I've got enough love to go around. You've got this, Leon. I believe in you.